Hi, today's lesson is on arithmetic. Now I know most people have already learned arithmetic and I apologize for people who are very good at it. But in my experience, most of the people who grow up to be adults who have trouble with mathematics started having trouble back in elementary school. And I think a lot of the problem was that they weren't given explanations. They weren't told why things work or how to figure things out. They were just told what was true and expected to memorize it. And so they don't have, there's no reason why an answer is one thing as opposed to another thing, except that one gets marked right and another gets marked wrong. So I want to talk about how I wish elementary school mathematics was taught. Now let's start with addition. I wish that addition was taught on a number line. You draw a long line on the ground with tape or with a clothesline or with chalk, and there you are. This is my adorable little elementary school kid, and if she wants to compute something like 3 plus 2, what does she do? You always start at start, and when you say 3, you count 1, 2, 3. And then you say plus, and then you count 1, 2, and you end up at the number 5. So 3 plus 2 is 5. Now you could have done this by taking 3 apples and adding 2 apples. You could have done this in a lot of different ways. But it's very simple rules. Start at start, walk the first number, walk the second number, and that gets you your answer. So I think that with a very small introduction, you could have second grade kids run forward and add and subtract, add all sorts of numbers. Subtraction, slightly more difficult. The only difference is that instead of when you say minus, you turn around. So what's 6 minus 2? 6 minus 2 is you start at start, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then when you say minus, you turn around. 6 minus 2, right? 6 minus 2. Then you walk 1, 2, and you end up at 4. Look how happy that kid is. 6 minus 4 is 2. So you could figure out all of your basic addition and subtraction problems very quickly using a number line. And you don't have to have the teacher tell you what's a right answer and what's a wrong answer. You can figure it out on your own. I would intentionally make sure that the line was not long enough. So kid on this line who wanted to do 5 plus 3 would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 3. 1, 2, oh, I'm going to have to put one more mark down, and that will be the number 8. So a kid who knows how to count will be able to very quickly figure out how to add. And the best thing I like about this is it doesn't just do second grade math, it does middle school math too. It does algebra with negative and positive numbers. Watch what happens if we try to do 3 minus 5. See, there's teachers in first, second grade who say, oh, you can subtract 3 from 5, but you can't subtract 5 from 3. This teacher's telling you just to believe everything that they say. It's going to turn out to be wrong later. You can subtract 5 from 3. If you have $3 and you lose 5, you go into... Anyway, what do? 3 minus 5. 1, 2, 3, minus, you turn around, and then 5. 1, 2, 3... 4, 5. You end up at sort of a weird number called -2. And that's always going to happen if you subtract a larger number from a negative number. A larger number from a smaller number, you're going to go past start to the realm of negative numbers. Not such a crazy thing. You can use this to figure out, now, okay, so now we have negative numbers. How do we do a negative number? Well, if you want to walk 6, you walk 6 steps forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember, we only turn around to subtract. If you want to walk -2, what you do is you take 2 steps backwards. You go 1, 2. So if you want to do -2 plus 4, then you go 1, 2 steps backwards, plus, it doesn't do anything, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. -2 plus 4 is 2. And then you quickly realize that if you are adding numbers, then if you add 2 positive numbers, then you walk the first one, and you walk the second one, you end up with a larger positive number. If you add two negative numbers, -1 plus 2 is -1 plus -2, -3. You add two negative numbers, you end up with a larger negative number. You add two positive numbers, you add a positive number. You subtract a small number from a large number, you're going to go forward more and then back less. You want to subtract a larger number from a smaller number, you go forward a small bit and you go back a larger number. You're going to end up with a negative number. This even helps explain things like subtracting a negative. What does it mean to subtract a negative? What is 5 minus -2? Well, 5 minus -2 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, you're at the 5. Minus, you turn around. And now -2 is walking 2 steps backwards. So you go 1, 2. 5 minus -2 is 7. And this is why a lot of teachers, they don't explain this, but they say 2 negatives makes a positive. What they're saying is if you turn around and walk backward, you may as well have walked forward. 5 minus -2 is the same thing as 5 plus 2. There's another way to look at this, and that is to look at positive things and negative things. Here are some positive things. When you clean, that is making a positive difference in the world. Brushing your teeth, working hard, writing, singing, exercising. These are positive things. The more of these things you have in your life, the more positive your life is. Negative things, complaining, fighting, smoking, theft, murder, arson, these are negative things. You have these things in your life is not going so well. So, if you add two positive things, if you start exercising and singing, you have made a significant improvement to your life. If you add negative things, that's the same thing as subtracting. You have your life just the way it is and add a little theft in. It's going to make your life worse. It's like adding a negative. Back on the number line, adding -5, adding, let's say, -3, is the same thing as subtracting 3. What is 5 plus -3? 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus, you don't turn around, but -3 is you walk backwards. 1, 2, 3. 5 plus -3 is 2. That's the same thing as 5 minus 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you act it out differently. 5 minus, you turn around, and then 1, 2, 3. You still end up at the 2. Anyway, the joke I like to tell about subtracting a negative is the same thing as positive. Why is subtracting -2 the same thing as adding 2? Well, what it is it's like subtracting a negative thing from your life. Let's say you complain all the time. Well, if you are going to remove complaining from your life, you are going to make your life better. Let's say you light fires all the time. You're an arsonist. Well, if you were to remove arson from being a daily part of your life, you are improving your life.